We are ready.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Institutionalist School. And next slide, please. Can you change? Thank you. A little bit of historical background. The United States became one of the biggest and most powerful industrial systems in the world, but yet the living conditions were really bad. So the Institutionalist School got to a conclusion that the doctrine of minimal government interference wasn't working, and it developed 7 key ideas to change this way. And one of them, and one of the most important, is broad perspective. This says that economy must be examined as a whole, not in small parts. You should examine politics, sociology, law, custom, and they focus principally on social processes and relationships. Another one is focus on institutions. They didn't see institutions as just organized thing. They saw it as part of custom, social habits, and modes of thinking and living. So that's why they believe that economic life is regulated by economic institutions and not laws, because institutions were a pattern of behavior of society. Then we have the evolutionary approach. And this approach requires not only the knowledge of economics, but also history, cultural anthropology, political science, and sociology. And one of the main question they asked was how did we get here and where are we going, because it is important to see and examine the constant changes of our society. Next slide, please. Thank you. And the fourth one is the rejection of the idea of normal equilibrium. They believe that in the principle of circular causation, that is, that economic and social phenomena are interconnected and mutually influential. This means that changes in one area can lead to changes in another area. That's why there is not always a normal equilibrium. And then we have the clashes of interest. And they recognize that people are cooperative creatures and organize themselves into groups, but however, there is always going to be a part of individualism, and it comes the clashes of interest. And the institutionalists believe that they must have a partial government that reconciles all these clashing interests. Then we have the democratic reform, and it's practically the same. The Institutionalists wanted a reform to equilibrate the distribution of wealth and income, and they did not. They were not in favor of laissez-faire. Next, please. And lastly, the rejection of pleasure-pain psychology. They reached out for a better psychology, and some of them incorporated fraudulent behaviorist ideas into their thinking.
And first of all, what is an institution? It's going to be the rules, roles, and enforcement mechanisms that structure human interaction and human relationships. So examples of institutions include markets, it includes marriage, the corporate sector, the legal system, journalism, higher education, regulatory bodies. And it's worth separating institutions from organizations. Like, organizations are specific groups of people, such as a specific corporation or a specific school. And organizations are many institutions in and of themselves, but oftentimes they're nested.
Stop the video. She's one of the most famous economists when she's talking about overall. I mean, her channel in YouTube is quite popular. But I don't like exactly how he's introducing this topic. I didn't like, not because it's incorrect, because I need that you get focused on something else. Andre, can you hear me, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Andre, please define institutions. according with this economic school, what are institutions?
Yeah, the institutions are like part of the normal life, and are like like the girl cell, like an organization that is part of the fundamental culture of the society, and it helps to shape the economy as well, as a part of
Okay.
that is a combination between society and economy.
Okay, guys, please, everybody Google. What are institutions according with Douglas North? Google that. Yeah, you can see already you will find options, but because we need a definition of what is institutions. Over there you will find something. Look. What are institutions according to Douglas North? This option, yeah? And now read the definition by Douglas North. Institutions are the rules of the game in society. More formally, are the humanly devised constraints that shape human interaction. It's one definition, guys. This is what you need to remember. First, it is correct when you are thinking that institutions are organizations. If you are thinking the World Bank, you are thinking this university, you are thinking just about organizations. It's true, that are institutions. Yeah, usually we're thinking about institutions like that. But in addition, don't forget, institutions are rules. Formal and informal rules. Formal rules, we have the constitutions. Informal rules, because of my religion, I have some rules that I should be following. And previously, and just actually recently, in economics, we used to think, and then later in macroeconomics, still you will think, that is irrelevant. For the economic outcomes, it's irrelevant that we have institutions, organizations, and these formal and informal rules. Because they are changing slowly. We can use a ceteris paribus, and then we go directly to basic models, supply and demand, and we will explain. And these people say, no, guys, actually institutions, these rules, informal, informals, and the informants of these rules is highly important for the outcomes that we observe. And Douglas North won the Nobel Prize in 1991, seems to me, because of these contributions and many others. And today, this school, Neo-Institutionalist School, not the school by Berlin, that is the original school, by Douglas North, the new institutional economics school in economics, is part of the mainstream. People working at the Monetary Fund, people working at the World Bank, is not using these ideas. Even in your textbook about macroeconomics by Michael Parkin, now he's talking about incentives and institutions. But a few years ago, nobody mentioned that because it was a ceteris paribus, it's a constant, it's changing very slowly. But today we can recognize that institutions is very important for the outcomes we are observing in the economy. Therefore, question in your exam, don't forget what we mean by institutions here in this school. Institutions are organizations and rules, formal and informal. An example of formal rule, my constitution. Institutions are organizations, for example, the World Bank, this university, police, even the state government, and also rules. What kind of rules we have? We have formal rules. Yeah, we have the formal rules, for instance, the Constitution, but also we have many other formal regulations by the state. And informal rules. Because of my customs, because of my habits, because of my religion, there are many rules that I'm following. And these rules are affecting economic outcomes.